Millionaire invites teacher to sit with her in Café. Next a BMW comes for her and shocked everyone. The morning light crept through the thin curtains of Fiona Harrison's small apartment, casting long shadows across her weary face. Another day of uncertainty loomed before her, heavy with the weight of impending professional doom. Her fingers traced the rim of a chipped coffee mug, the porcelain smooth from years of nervous touching. Outside, the city of Milwaukee stirred to life, its streets beginning to pulse with the rhythm of morning commuters, while Fiona remained motionless, trapped in a moment of profound despair. Teaching had never been just a job for her. It was a calling, a sacred mission that burned bright within her soul. For years she had championed the most vulnerable students, those labeled as slow, difficult, or problematic by a system, all too quick to discard them. Where others saw limitations, Fiona saw potential waiting to be unlocked. Her classroom was a sanctuary of hope, a place where struggling children found their voice, their confidence, their very sense of self-worth. But hope, she was learning, came at a cost. Principal Gregory Thompson had made his position crystal clear during their last confrontation. His words echoed in her mind, each syllable a dagger of professional rejection. These children are dragging down our school's performance metrics. We cannot continue to invest resources in students who show no promise of improvement. Fiona had stood her ground then, her voice trembling but resolute. Every child deserves a chance, every single one. The result was predictable. Her contract was not being renewed. Years of dedication, of pouring her heart and soul into teaching, reduced to a simple bureaucratic dismissal. The school board had sided with Thompson, viewing education through the cold lens of standardized test scores and administrative efficiency. This morning, she would face the final blow. A formal meeting to discuss her termination, a professional execution disguised as a courtesy. The café was small, tucked away on a quiet street in Milwaukee's historic Third Ward. Vintage brick walls and soft jazz playing in the background created an illusion of comfort that did little to soothe Fiona's turbulent emotions. She sat alone, her weathered leather bag beside her, filled with teaching material she might never use again. Lesson plans for children who would soon be forgotten, passed over, left behind. A single tear traced its way down her cheek, which she quickly brushed away. She would not break, not here, not now. "Excuse me." A gentle voice interrupted her thoughts. "Would you mind if I sit here? The café is quite full this morning." Fiona looked up, surprised. A distinguished gentleman stood before her, impeccably dressed yet with a warmth in his eyes that immediately put her at ease. Something about his demeanor suggested more than mere politeness. There was an intentionality to his request. "Of course," she responded, gathering her bag to make more room. The man settled into the chair, ordering a simple black coffee from the passing waitress. For several moments they sat in companionable silence. Fiona appreciated that he didn't immediately engage her in conversation, sensing her need for quiet reflection. But compassionate eyes can read more than words. "You're carrying a heavy burden," he observed softly, not as a question but a statement of understanding. Fiona hesitated. She was not one to share her troubles with strangers, yet something about this man, his kind eyes, his non-intrusive manner, invited vulnerability. "I'm losing my job," she said simply, "because I refuse to give up on children others have deemed hopeless." The man listened, truly listened, not with the perfunctory nod of bureaucrats or the dismissive glance of administrators, but with genuine empathy. When Fiona finished speaking, he didn't offer platitudes or empty consolations. "The world needs teachers like you," he said quietly. Those 7 words would change everything. If you are enjoying the story, type 5 in the comments and subscribe for more videos like this. If not, type 0. It helps me create even better content for you. Continuing. The next morning arrived with an unexpected twist that would challenge everything Fiona understood about her world. A gleaming black BMW stood parked precisely in front of her modest apartment building, an alien presence among the weathered brick and modest street signs of her working-class neighborhood. A professionally dressed driver stood beside the vehicle, crisp and alert. "Miss Harrison," he called as she emerged, still wearing the same clothes from the previous day, her eyes puffy from a night of restless contemplation. "Yes," she responded cautiously. "Mr. Alexander Bennett requests your presence," the driver announced, opening the rear door with practiced smoothness. Fiona's mind raced. Bennett, the name from the café, the stranger who had listened. Yet something felt different, extraordinary. Her heart thundered as she slid into the luxurious leather seat, the car's interior a stark contrast to her modest life. Milwaukee's streets rolled by, familiar, yet suddenly strange, as if she were traversing a landscape both known and alien. The BMW glided to a stop outside the Milwaukee Foundation for Educational Innovation, a building she had passed countless times but never entered. Its glass and steel facade spoke of resources, of possibilities far beyond the underfunded classrooms she knew. Alexander Bennett was waiting. Not the humble café companion, but a transformation. Here he was clearly a man of significant means. Tailored suit, intricate watch, the kind of presence that commanded attention without demanding it. Yet those same compassionate eyes remained. "Ms. Harrison," he greeted her, extending his hand. "I'm glad you came." The next hours would blur into a narrative almost too extraordinary to believe. Bennett wasn't just wealthy. He was a philanthropist with a vision that aligned perfectly with Fiona's most passionate beliefs. He had been searching, he explained, for someone who saw children not as test scores, but as human potential waiting to be cultivated. His foundation would create an elite academy, fully funded, dedicated to providing personalized education for children with learning challenges. And he wanted Fiona to lead it, full autonomy, unlimited resources, a chance to transform lives. "Why me?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Because you never stopped believing," Bennett responded. "Powerful narrative hooks keep viewers engaged, and this moment was precisely such a point of transformation." The story was about to take an unexpected turn that would challenge everything Fiona thought she knew about her life's purpose. As weeks transformed into months, Fiona's new reality took shape. The academy wasn't just a school, it was a revolution in educational approach. Children who had been labeled unteachable began to flourish in ways no one had anticipated. Each child was a unique universe of potential, and Fiona was determined to explore every constellation of their capabilities. Have you ever experienced or known someone who experienced a complete life transformation like this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The journey was far from easy. Despite the Foundation's resources, changing deeply ingrained educational paradigms required more than money. It demanded unwavering commitment and radical reimagining of what learning could look like. Fiona assembled a team of educators who shared her philosophy, not just skilled teachers but passionate advocates who saw beyond traditional metrics. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez, a neuropsychologist specializing in learning differences. Elena Kim, a speech therapist with groundbreaking approaches to communication. Jacob Thompson, a former special education coordinator who had grown disillusioned with systemic limitations. Together, they developed individualized learning plans that recognized each student's unique strengths. Technology played a crucial role. Custom-designed software that adapted in real time to a student's learning pace and style. Sensory-friendly environments, flexible schedules, holistic assessments that measured growth beyond standardized testing. The first cohort of students represented a diverse spectrum of learning challenges. There was Tommy, who struggled with severe dyslexia but possessed an extraordinary spatial intelligence. Sophia, who was nonverbal but communicated profound emotional depth through art. Michael, diagnosed with ADHD, whose kinetic energy became a catalyst for innovative learning strategies. Fiona remembered the day Tommy first read a full paragraph, without frustration. The look of pure joy on his face, a mixture of surprise, triumph, and newfound confidence, was worth every challenge they had faced. The Academy's approach attracted national attention. Educational researchers, policymakers, and journalists began to take notice. What was happening in this small Milwaukee institution was more than an isolated experiment. It was a potential blueprint for educational transformation. But success brought its own complications. The traditional educational establishment felt threatened. Principal Thompson, who had once dismissed Fiona, now viewed her as a direct challenge to his administrative worldview. School boards and bureaucrats began scrutinizing the academy's methods, looking for weaknesses, hoping to discredit their revolutionary approach. Alexander Bennett remained a steady, supportive presence. He didn't just provide financial backing, he offered strategic guidance, leveraging his extensive network to create protective space for Fiona's vision to take root and flourish. Months turned into a year. The Academy's first comprehensive assessment arrived, and the results were nothing short of miraculous. Students who had previously been labeled as unteachable were showing remarkable cognitive and emotional growth, not just incremental improvements, but fundamental transformations in how they engaged with learning. The world was watching, and the narrative was about to take another unexpected turn. Powerful stories often have moments that test the protagonist's resolve, pushing them to their absolute limits. And Fiona's journey was no exception. The challenges came from unexpected quarters. A coordinated attack from traditional educational institutions sought to undermine the Academy's credibility. Selective data interpretation, politically motivated critiques, attempts to paint their innovative approach as experimental and risky. Fiona found herself fighting battles on multiple fronts, defending not just an educational model, but a fundamental belief in human potential. Each critique, each challenge, became an opportunity to refine their approach, to gather more data, to prove the efficacy of their methods. Dr. Rodriguez developed comprehensive research papers documenting their methodologies. Elena Kim created communication frameworks that were being studied by universities nationwide. Jacob Thompson networked with progressive educational administrators who saw the potential for systemic change. And through it all, the students remained the true heroes. Tommy was now reading advanced science texts. Sophia had developed a communication app that was being considered for wider implementation. Michael had discovered a passion for robotics, his once challenging energy now channeled into creative problem-solving. The Academy was more than an educational institution. It was a living, breathing testament to the power of believing in every child's potential. As national recognition grew, so did the opportunities. Invitations to present at educational conferences, requests for consulting from school districts across the country, research grants that would allow them to continue refining their revolutionary approach. But for Fiona, the most significant victories were always personal. The quiet moments, when a child's eyes would light up with understanding. The phone calls from parents sharing stories of transformation, the subtle but profound shifts in how these children saw themselves. She often thought back to that morning in the cafe, to the moment everything changed, how a chance encounter, a compassionate stranger, had altered the trajectory of not just her life, but potentially the lives of countless children. Alexander Bennett's initial investment was proving to be more than a philanthropic gesture. It was a catalyst for genuine systemic educational reform. The story was far from over. In many ways, it was just beginning. Congratulations. Type 9 in the comments so that I know you stayed until the end with me. Thank you for watching, and until tomorrow's story on this same channel,